I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through eyes covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything.
All right, y'all. What's up, betters? Happy Friday. It is the holidays. Christmas is just around the corner, and I have a nice little early Christmas present for y'all. All right. What is the story? Where do I start here? This is kind of interesting. People were sending me messages about this story that I'm going to cover today. About it was last April, a whistleblower named Jason Sands came out in a Twitter space, right? This UFO whistleblower, he came out with this story. And the significance of it is that he was going to be featured in James Fox's new documentary, The Program, which has since released this past Monday, and it is available online for purchase. It will be available to rent on December 30th. So if you don't feel like paying the $20 now, you can wait till the 30th. But I recommend, supporting James Fox for sure, if you can, if you're able to. But it's the holidays and I get it. So anyway, the documentary comes out. Jason Sands is in it, telling the same story. Basically, he had told, 9 months prior, right? Or 8 months prior. But how does vetted play into this? Right? How does vetted play into this? Well, I did a unique story about Jason Sands that no one else did. And I got a lot of SHIT for it. A lot. In fact, I had to make a second video. Now, what am I getting at? Well, basically, I had told the story. You know what? Let's do this slowly here. Let's do this slowly. You know what? All right, here we go. It's just a little complicated. Basically, Jason Sands comes out, tells his story, right? He had an encounter in the desert near Area 51, seeing a blue alien of sorts. He says it's more albino with a blue undertone. That's what he's saying now. Okay, so, well, I then come out with my video and say, well, I had someone tell me that he killed an alien, right? And Jason then comes out and denies it and says, that's not true. And everyone gave me, again, crap for it. I had to make another video basically stating, okay, he's saying he didn't do that and, tell where I got that information. And, well, guess what has happened? Guess what has happened? He has since come out and said he did kill aliens. So I was right all along. Right? All this time. And all the crap I had to take. How many people would throw that in my face over the months? Aren't you the guy that said Jason killed a blue alien? Well, guess what? He did. And he killed more than one alien. Right? So we're going to dive into that story, and I'm going to help explain that a little bit more, right? Some more details, because there's even more details to Jason's story. Now, to be completely transparent, I have reached out to Jason on Twitter because we have been very, personable online. And now I know why he wasn't mad at me for telling that story. Because it was true. And, I even had a little mishap with Jason at the end of August where I got copyright struck from another content creator for putting up an interview of Jason because his first on-camera interview was supposed to be featured in the documentary, The Program. That's a whole nother fiasco. But regardless, all I'm going to do is tell the story about him killing, claiming to kill aliens. So look, let's start with a little bit of this and a little bit of that. Okay, right here. Get ready for old Patrick. Okay. Take a listen. Right, because he's supposed to come out in that, but he decided to sort of blow the whistle early. So I've heard his story, and to be honest with you, there's a part of his story that I don't see out there, but I'm just going to tell it right here. So you're going to get some exclusive news about Jason Sands on Vetted right here. All right, so this is basically the deal real quick. Okay, so this guy named Jason Sands, he was a contractor working for the government outside of Area 51. And one particular night, they're out and about. Now, this takes place sometime in the 90s, late 90s, I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure late 90s. And he heads out, right, with his team. They see a UFO crash. They get told to go check it out. They're on comms. And all of Jason Sands' other team members can't interact with this. They see an alien, a blue alien. He's blue, okay? And they can't interact with them. But for some reason, Jason has this telepathic connection with the alien, with the blue alien, right? And he's telling them, hey, Area 51, those guys are murderers, don't go over there. It's not good. They're not good people over at Area 51, right? Which is an interesting, like he's giving them the drama of the week. The alien is like, it's like The View. I don't know. It seems like an odd message to tell Jason Sands. But anyway, so telepathically, this blue alien is talking to Jason Sands and tells him that. Well, a part of the story that I have not seen floating around is this. Apparently, what happens is Jason is told over the radio, because he's radioing back, what's happening. He's apparently told over the radio to kill that alien. And he does. Boom. So right there, that part of the story, I was completely, run through the ringer on. And Jason later came out. I've got more here, right? So that's one video that I made. And then I did this video the very next day. Listen to this. So Jason puts out a statement after my video, right? Because he gets asked about it. Let's start with Jason Sands' response here. He says, yes, that's why I joined the chat last night. I do want to address two inaccuracies from people that are blogging today. Number one, I didn't kill any blue aliens. Okay, I'm not blogging. So there he denies killing any aliens. And he, helped in, he talked in other spaces as well, right? About essentially that didn't happen. But, to be fair, like he was so cool about it, I have to admit. And now I know why. Right. And I have a lot of questions that I'm going to get to as we go through this, right? Because he has since come out and told more, right? So let's get to some of that. Okay. Bear with me, y'all. Shout out to all the veterans. Shout out to all the mods. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. I know it's Friday. Friday live streams are hard. So I appreciate those of you that have showed up. I know it's the holidays. You're going to be busy. You got stuff to do. Hit that like button if you want, y'all. That really helps out the videos. And yes, I am trying to get to 40,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I think we could do it. We got 11 days. We're so close, y'all. We're like, honestly, I don't even know. We're like 800 away. We'll get there. This time last year, I had like, I don't know, almost 3,000. So we've come a long way all in 1 year. But regardless, let's get to this here. Let's get to the new part of the story. So Jason, I reached out to Jason on Monday. Oh, I didn't finish telling. Yeah, I reached out to Jason on Monday, and okay, hey, you know, program's out. You said you would do an interview with me, which is what he had said previously before, but he had to wait till the documentary came out. So I've been waiting months and months and months, even though I've seen him do other interviews. But regardless, he's like, oh, I need to check with James first and see what's going on. I'll get back to you. Next thing you know, I don't hear back from him, which, okay, he doesn't need to be contact, you know, I'm nobody, doesn't need to be following up with me. I didn't follow up with him as far as that goes, but regardless, all of a sudden I see this interview pop up. He goes on Post-Disclosure World with Ryan, who I've had Ryan on the show here. Love that guy. He's great. Very talented dude. And I'm glad he went on there, right? But he goes on and tells a story about, no, he was ordered to kill aliens, right? And it's like, wait, what? I thought it would have been fair for Jason to come on my show and do that and say that, just because of, you know, I was the only one reporting that he had killed aliens before, the only one, publicly. Now, other people knew it privately, but they were keeping it private to protect, I guess. I'm not sure. I know I caused some heartache for some people, and I didn't mean to. Part of the big reason why I don't have anonymous sources or do anything, it's the only time I had done that. I used an anonymous source and told a story, and what happened, I got run through the ringer. So the very next video, I said who the source was, and I explained to that person as well that I had to do it, and I'm sorry, but, you know, and I'm just done with all that. So, you know, that's my rule on here. And that was my rule before, but I broke it. I made a mistake. I stepped over the line. It was stupid, and I regret it. And that's why I don't do inside sources, anonymous sources, secret information, you know, confidential, off the record. I don't do any of that stuff, you know. So anyway, he goes, Jason goes on to Post-Disclosure World and starts talking about this. I'm going to play this clip. Now, again, I don't think I mentioned this. I skipped past it. I have reached out to Jason, and we were supposed to do an interview, because after this came out, I'm like, okay, dude, please, are you ready now? So, because everyone's messaging me, hey, dude, Jason's coming out saying he did kill aliens now, right? Because everyone knows I made, you know, that video about it. So anyway, I reach out to Jason. Okay, let's book this. We set it up for yesterday at 2 p.m. And in the morning, Jason messaged me and said, I'm not feeling well. You know, what can we do? I threw back, like, what, you know, what's another day that's good for you? He says the day after Christmas. I say, hey, just FYI, that's the day after Christmas. You know, is that okay for you? Oh, maybe not. I got company in town. I said, you know what? You're not feeling well. It's the holidays. Let's regroup in the new year, right? I felt that was fair. Let's regroup in the new year. I'll reach out again, and we'll see if we can get something together. So this is just to preface a conversation hopefully I get to have with Jason in the new year, right? To explain a lot of this, and kind of, I think I've got a unique position here in the community to talk to Jason about his story. So, because it's so heavily featured in James Fox's documentary, right? So anyway, let's play the clip of this new revelation, right? This new part of the story to Jason.
So yes, I did experience a dirty work program, but I did explain in that first interview that, yeah, that was what I did. They made me do some dirty work for them. When I had to exit the program, that was the deal. It was either that or something bad would happen to me or my family.
Can you elaborate on what that dirty work constituted?
Well, it was kind of very strange. I feel like it was part of maybe an NHI program that they utilize humans, to do things for them that involved kind of being, taken from your bed in the middle of the night, unconscious, and the next thing you're waking up and you've got some work for them to do. They tell you you're going over here, you're going to go in that cave, here's a gun, whatever's in there, kill it, and that's kind of how they rolled. And you either did it or you knew bad things would happen to you or your family. And that's kind of how it went. But it was usually in the dead of night, that kind of a thing.
And you were a part of that.
Yeah.
And when you say kill it, what exactly would you be referencing potentially?
I guess the team that I was on, we killed other NHI for whoever was in charge. I never got to see who was actually in charge of that program. I was only told, do what they say. Otherwise, you're never going to go see your family again. That was kind of the attitude.
So, okay. So look, there's more to that story. I highly recommend going and checking out Ryan's interview with Jason. Okay. And let me again make it clear. I have zero problems with Ryan or Jason for that matter. It's nothing personal. Just want to talk, right? So definitely support Ryan in Post Disclosure World. Go check out the interview that Jason did on there. But I definitely am looking forward to a conversation with Jason Sands, and I really wish we could have had it yesterday. I saw him doing a bunch of Twitter spaces the day before, and maybe that's what made him not feel well, for the very next day. Maybe he's a little afraid to talk to me? Maybe not afraid, but a little worried about what I'm going to ask. He's just kind of pushing it forward. That could be because I have a lot of questions that I didn't hear anyone ask in the spaces that they were with them. Now, they did ask a lot of good questions, but there were a few that I thought was interesting to not ask. But regardless, he, after this comes out, now he's going in some Twitter spaces and talking about this, right? And people are coming in and kind of peppering him, to be honest with you, in the one that I saw, right? Now there was another Twitter space where apparently they were talking about Vetted and me and the video that I made, but I don't know what was said. There was no recording of that Twitter space, so I don't have it, whatever. But clearly that was brought up because I was the only one that had said it. Now, to be fair to the whole story, in my video, I say that Jason kills the blue alien that he, had that encounter with, the same encounter that he talks about in the program. Now, Jason's coming on saying I killed aliens, but not that one. So it was kind of half right. He killed alien, just not that one. That makes sense, right? He's saying that particular alien did go away. Now, again, Jason has clarified and since said that it's not a blue alien. It's an albino alien with blue undertones. Okay, those are his exact words. But let's take a listen to a space that he was in that I got sent to. Shout out to Terrestrial Matt. Thank you so much, brother, for sending this to me. And shout out to the whole crew who put this X space together. Let me bring it up. Oh, no, that's not what I want. Boom. There we go. So right here, all right, let me bring it up. So he's in a Twitter space. They're talking about this. It's a whole 2-hour thing. There's actually quite a few different bits of this that I wish I could share, but I don't want to just play the whole Twitter space. I'll go check it out. I highly recommend it. And let's just listen to this clip here and we'll come back.
The way it was.
Okay, so I just want to reiterate. All right, so we got you've killed 3 aliens, one like 2 in one place,
Yeah.
1 in another, and you don't know where the location is.
Well, I know where
And
the
then-
other one was.
and
I
then
know where
they-
one of them was, definitely on the Nellis test range. That was the one that was in the prison cell, and that was in the S2 area of Nellis test range.
Okay, so one of them was at least
Stay with me, y'all, because I'm about when I show you guys everything, I'm about to go into a long sort of monologue about all the questions I have about this.
at
Yeah.
Nellis, and then there was a cavern somewhere where an alien got loose and killed a kid.
Well,
Right.
there was more than there were men, women, and children in that cavern. There was probably about.
Why were there men? Why were there children in the cavern?
I
I'm just
thought
asking.
that perhaps that these beings, these NHI, were going to take these people and abduct them and do whatever they felt like to them, and that these people were being held against their will. They all looked very fearful when we came into the cavern, and they were screaming because this thing was trying to hurt them and kill them. And yeah, it was just a horrible mess for them.
All right, so you grabbed a gun, or you were given a gun that you can't really identify, and you used the gun to kill the
Yeah.
alien, right?
Yep.
We got Quest. He's been very patient down there. I don't know you, so I hope you got a good question, Quest. Go ahead.
I appreciate the letting me come up and ask this question. Thank you. And I want to appreciate Mr. Sands for your courage and your patience in expressing yourself and your experiences. I'm sure it's not an easy thing to do. I've spent decades accumulating different testimonies and statements from people and assessing it, actually. And I'm listening to your tonality and structure and the way you're expressing yourself.
Okay. Look, before I jump into all the questions that I have, you know what? Let's start now. Well, let's just work our way back. One, Jason is saying he's getting dropped off at caves. So he killed one alien in a prison cell. You know, he killed a couple aliens in a cave, some cave he doesn't know where. He thinks it's on Earth, but he would just get woken up at the location, handed a gun, and told to just kill aliens. That's the story. Okay, he's part of a special forces. He wanted to leave the program, right? He wanted to leave the program, and because of that, they punished him. As punishment, he was put on a group to become an alien assassin. That's the story. Okay, so he's given a gun that has no recoil, doesn't take bullets, shoots weird, whatever, thinks Starship Troopers, I guess, and he's shooting aliens. And he also goes on to say that he saw a child ripped in half. And he cried in this space about it, and it was very emotional and that. And I thought, oh, this is getting serious, y'all. You're gonna make claims like that, seeing a child murdered, like, it's crazy to me. Now that's taking it to another level. I'm all about speculating and theorizing about this. This is interesting, but someone's gonna come out and make that claim is quite astonishing, if I'm being honest. And he's saying he's killed these aliens because of that, right? One, nobody asked him, what did the humans look like? Were they Asian? Were they black? Were they white? How tall were they? What clothes were they wearing? Right? Let's get a better idea of where you were in the world, because he doesn't know where he was, right? Ask those questions. Did they have things with them? Right? Suitcase or something? Like, what were they holding? Like, you know what I mean? And how does he know that those were aliens? Did he go up and check? Right? How does he know that what he killed was alien? Nobody asked him that. How does he know he didn't kill humans? Right? And at first, Jason couldn't even Jason couldn't even answer the question of how many aliens he killed. He was like, I don't know, a handful, didn't keep track. And then he basically brings it down to 2 different stories. That's it. So it's like you couldn't remember, there's a lot of holes in it. And again, these are all questions I want to ask Jason Sands respectfully. The honest truth is I don't believe Jason Sands, but that doesn't mean I'm going to be disrespectful to him. I want to have a conversation. And I saw people in the space who didn't like Jason Sands and who didn't believe him and were letting him know quite aggressively. And that's not my position. That's not my game. That's not what I do. So, but I do hope Jason Sands on and he comes on and I can ask him some of these tougher questions. And I'll tell you why it's okay, because I thought about this. If this was just a private person coming out and telling their story, I wouldn't be, I would want to know the truth, of course, but I wouldn't be as worried about asking them tough questions, right? Or I would be more worried, right? Especially, their private life or whatever. But Jason is coming out and testifying to Congress behind closed doors. He's using taxpayer dollars and he's wanting legislation to get passed based on his stories, right? And this is also things he's saying he did while he was being paid by tax dollars. So I have every right to ask any question I want. And in my opinion, Jason should feel obligated to answer those questions. And why he's drip feeding his story out is concerning to me. Why didn't he come out with the full story, right? He told lots of stories. I've made lots of videos on Jason Sands. He saw a 30-foot Anubis Egyptian god, right? He's had other communications, other stories, other experiences. And why wasn't this brought up in the program, James Fox's documentary? That, you know what I mean? That as punishment, Jason was put on a secret assassin group to kill aliens. Why was that not included, right? Why not include the part about the child? Why not include the part about the aliens? And now we're also implying that the aliens are malevolent. Some may be benevolent, but there is every possibility that you should be worried, right? It's like a fear thing. And I'm just really concerned about this story. And I think that story, part of it was held to then do interviews to help promotion for the documentary. That's what I think. And I'm helping right now, right? Go check out the program. It's available on Apple, Amazon, wherever, right? The program. And I do recommend checking it out. But I'm very wary of Jason's story and what he's coming out and saying. And there's no evidence that he was there's evidence up to a certain point of, he was in the military. He did serve in some particular things, but then he just starts adding all this other stuff onto it respectfully, right? And Jason, if you're watching, I mean this respectfully, right? But I would want to know, why did you hold on to this story? It can't be, well, it's too difficult to talk about. Sorry. If you're going to come out with your story and you're using taxpayer dollars and it's stuff you learned while you know what I mean? Like, I'm sorry. And you want to put out a book? You have to answer these questions, in my opinion, especially if you're advocating for legislation, right? It's becoming political. So I don't feel bad about asking tough questions on this one, if I'm being honest. I thought about it a lot, actually, because I didn't want to be insensitive. I want to be respectful. I want people to feel like they should be able to come out and tell their stories, right? But I'm also of the believer of, okay, but we also get to ask questions. It can't be just like, if someone comes out, believe them at all costs because they came out and they were brave. No. Then anyone and their mother's going to come out, right? Sorry. I mean, if you're going to come out, and again, if Jason wasn't pushing for legislation or pushing for tax dollars to be spent or going and testifying behind Congress and all this stuff, right? Like talking to people, like, sorry, that becomes, you've crossed a line now into it's open to the American public, right? And now we really need to dig into your story, right? And again, just so many questions about what happened, right? And what else is he not saying? What else about his story has he not come out with, What other surprises are there? He's saying he's saving some of it for his book, right? And I don't know about you, but that's a red flag to me. I don't like that personally, right? But I will say this. I appreciate Jason going to all these spaces and talking and taking questions, right? So he's kind of doing it right there, right? So again, I hope he comes on Vetted and takes these questions. He was willing to sit through in these spaces and just take question after question. So I will admit, I respect that, right? But I do want to know how he knows that what he killed was aliens, right? And all the details, you know, what uniform was he wearing, right? And I hope he sees this and he can prepare, right? But I would love to know all those details, right? Why not? What happened to those humans? Did we save them? Are there more? Should we be worried? Right? What can we do to combat? Why is no one else saying anything like this? Why aren't other people coming forward? There was so much in this space that I was listening to where I just thought, this is just getting crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier and crazier, y'all. And it kind of blew my mind, to be honest with you. Look, I'm going to play a little bit more of that space. This is going to be a short live stream today, guys, because I have Vetted is doing its first X space at 1:00, which is in 24 minutes. So I am going to cut this short to go do that. If you want to jump on Twitter and be a part of that. Again, it's the first time I'm doing it. I'll be joined by Dr. Dan Villiars, who's been a guest on twice, but we're going to continue with this, for another 15 minutes or so here. But I got a couple super chats I got to read real quick. DIY Camo Guy is Lou Elizondo, David Grush, Jeremy Corbell mentioned Jason Sands. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, that's a good question. Don't think so. Jeremy Corbell, I think. Maybe. Khan, thank you, brother. Guys, help Vetted reach 40K before the end of the year. That's right. Pat and the mods are doing incredible work. Let's all help this channel together. Subscribe. Thank you, Khan. Appreciate you, brother. All right. Let's go to this, back to the space here. And I'm going to do something because I got so many, just going to kind of plop it. I'm just going to, random here.
Yield
Thank
Grider.
you.
Grider
Yeah, and
was
I got to
before
go
me.
soon. I've got to make some dinner. But yeah,
Okay,
I'll take some
Grider
more
was before
questions.
me.
Just gotta make
What did you say? We have like 3 more people that want to ask questions?
Okay, come on.
Yes, it was the same kind of communication. However, with the guy in the desert, it was very civilized, feeling peaceful. It was not
What did it say to
threatening. He audibly was trying to talk to me, and it sounded like Norwegian or some other language I didn't know. But I, for some reason, was able to understand what he was saying the whole time, and that's the part that was telepathic.
Do you still talk to any of the people that you served with? Because I know, like me, like I was in the Army, and I mean, I wasn't anything like you. I mean, I was a field artillery guy, just a normal, as Arthur would classify it, basic bitch field artillery, quote unquote. So I mean, nothing special, but I know that I can still talk to all of them. I mean, people from basic training, like I'm in contact with still. Have you talked to any of those like program guys still? You got Facebook? I mean, anybody, just one of them?
Yeah,
even one of
them.
them.
I saw them in 2020, early 2022 in like February, because when I was working for the UAP Task Force Forum, or working on the forum, not working for them. I gotta keep myself from saying that. Yeah, I did reach out to them. I poked their names into an email, and I got a response. And so, yeah, I know that they're still there. They know who I am.
That would be your best bet of like bolstering your case. Because I know, like me, like I had a sighting of I had a black triangle fly over my head in basic training at Fort Sill, and like I know that if I was to come out with that story and like try to market it or whatever you want to talk about, I would definitely like have like some of my buddies there to kind of support it, right? Like, is there not one of these fellow guys that you served with that is willing to kind of, you know, come out and like tell his side of the story and, you know, kind of bolster your credibility?
Yeah, it's up to them. I'm not going to force them to do so, but I did give names to Congress, and they were the ones who went out and looked for them and found some. Some of them, the people that seem to have maybe passed on or whatever.
And real quick, let me be clear. I highly recommend going and checking out this space. They put it up on YouTube, but there was a lot of veterans, right? Former military personnel who were in here asking Jason questions. So these guys just weren't anybody. I'm not saying everyone did, but there were a few veterans, and they were really pushing back on him, right? They were really pushing back on Jason. Like, hey, man, if this story's BS, you're making all veterans look horrific. Right? People who actually served in special forces, people who actually saw, right, battle and people lose their lives. No jokes. No, you know what I mean? No BS. Right? And if Jason isn't telling the truth, this is horrific for them, right? It doesn't look good. Like it's a total slap in the face to people that actually did this stuff. Right? And you had these veterans pushing back. In their minds, they couldn't understand the stuff Jason was saying. Like, it didn't make sense, right? The stuff he was saying about the military and special forces and you know, how he got the guns. I mean, just all of it. None of it made sense, right? And Jason's response, I have to be honest, I mean, but I don't really know what else you say. He's just like, well, you weren't there, so you don't know. You know, but Jason can't provide any evidence of anything fantastical. All the evidence he has just explains that he was in the military, but there's no mention of anything fantastical. And I have to admit, you know, my father served in the Air Force. You know, my grandfather was in World War II. I was born in Omaha, Nebraska, right? Because my dad was serving in the Air Force. And I take that very seriously as well, right? I have cousins who are in the military right now, currently. I take that very seriously. This stolen valor sort of thing. And there could be stolen valor even if you were in the military, because you exaggerate your duties beyond just craziness, or add on, or say you were in special groups you were never in. Right. And I just think Jason's story and the stuff that he's saying it's a little much for me. I personally don't believe him. He's going to have to provide evidence for me to believe him. But I'm not going to, you know, yell at the guy and whatever, and which did happen in this space. People were getting a little aggressive with them. But at the same time, I kind of understand, right? And I don't want to shit on them. Like, is their crime worse than what Jason's doing? No. Sorry. I'm sorry. But you don't just get to come out with claims like that and provide no evidence and just expect complete respect, right, from everybody. I mean, what kind of stage are we setting up here? People should have to prove their stories before you then give them the respect for it. You don't just get to come out and, right? I mean, again, it does the community no favors. It does the topic no favors. It does the truth no favors. It does disclosure no favors. It does no one any favors, in my opinion. So, and I respect these veterans who served our country. And Jason did too, and I respect him for that, right? But these other veterans did too, so they should be allowed to have, you know, their say as well. Again, this involves taxpayer dollars. Jason crossed a line already into another realm of experiencer, right? One thing is your neighbor has an experience and comes and says it and whatever, you know, that's, I would never be so, you know, well, tell me about this and this is, you know, get all crazy with them, because, you know, that's not what I'm here for. But Jason crossed another line. He's in another realm where, no, we do need to come in and ask really tough questions, very detailed, very nuanced, and get to the bottom of it. Jason does need to provide evidence. But again, my neighbor, Susie, who tells me a story, of course not. I don't, you know, she doesn't need to provide a bunch of evidence. It's just hanging around. You hear a story and I can be sympathetic to that. But again, I put Jason in another category. and people like him, again, who are asking for asking for involvement from us, right? So just shout out to these veterans who were in here and asked some really good questions, and really push back on Jason, because I'm sorry, I think that is needed, and you can't just fall under, oh my God, thank you for coming out. Let's just walk on eggshells around. I mean, he's literally provided zero evidence for the fantastical things he's done or the fantastical things that happened to him. Just words and saying things that are so, if they were to be true, are earth-shattering. So earth-shattering news requires earth-shattering evidence. Let's continue.
I do have other people that even during the movie being developed that said they knew two of the people that were there the previous week when the UFO came onto the range that were part of my team going to Black Mountain. So there have been people, but I said, are they willing to come and talk on the film? And he said, no, they are not comfortable coming. So I know there are people out there, but you'd have to talk to people.
Okay. Yeah. Jason, I would love to ask you more questions about like the WeFunder campaign when, with the first hand fund, but I'm not going to hog up any more time. What I will say, man, is that like, as a veteran, it's really hard for me not to be like, I'm not like, this is not, it's a bad situation for you too. Like putting myself into your shoes. It's like, either way, either you're an intergalactic murderer, like an intergalactic war criminal, or you're lying and you're disgracing everybody that's put on the uniform, that served people, that every veteran you're spitting in the face of. So either way, man, it's just, I can empathize with you from that perspective, as in you're in a tough situation. But man, dude, if it's ever proven that you're lying, man, like, I mean, dude, like just shame on you. If it's I'm like, just shame on you, man, because like, it's really dishonoring. It's dishonoring everybody that has came before us and everybody that has given their life. Okay, and I've had friends that lost their life, overseas, and like, to have you running around making people think that there's soldiers out there that are mindless murderers, because that's the exact opposite of the people that I serve with.
You keep calling him a mindless murderer, but that is not what he described. So I wish you would stop calling him that.
Well, well, I mean,
and you're talking about,
dude,
the things that
you're just.
All right, look, it's
I don't
no
believe you. Is what I'm saying, and I'm gonna
no
step
different
down.
than a special forces guy being told, "This is your target. Take him out." That's all I did. I did.
I'm telling you that
I
think that
I
you're
was
lying.
ordered to do.
Okay, I don't believe you at all, and I'm a veteran. I serve not in special forces. And shame on you, man. Shame on you.
Well,
I wish you the best, though. Take care.
Okay, yeah, wish you the best too. Thanks.
I'm going to just real quick, and I got to go. I'm going to piggyback off of that. So my best friend has been JSOC for about 8 years, 10 years now. Legit JSOC out of North Carolina. He does.
All right, so this is another veteran talking to Jason here, right? Telling him that he has a friend in JSOC and whatever, right? So that's another veteran talking to Jason.
He definitely does the thing, and I couldn't be more proud of him. I've had the privilege of hanging out with at least 20 operators in one spot, and I could tell you not one of them, not one, talk about, brag about, or even tell stories about the people they killed.
Right.
And the fact that I know those people, and I've spent time with those people, and I know how they act. I know how they act when they're, with their buddies, with the guys they work with, or away. I could tell you that the fact that you are coming on here and you're saying these things, and you're saying you ran these special missions, contradicts everything that I've ever been exposed to by JSOC and special.
Well, there's been a number of people that took out Osama bin Laden, and they described in gory detail how they took out people and killed them.
Fuck you. I'm off this panel. Fuck you. Don't compare yourself to those guys ever.
Yeah, I know. That's
You
what I'm
fucking
telling you.
piece of
I'm not
shit. I'm
saying
off
I
this
am.
panel.
I'm not
Fuck
saying
you.
I am a G.
And it just continues to kind of go a little crazy there. Right. And look, I get it. It gets heated. I don't like, that's not personally how I would react, but I can sympathize with some of those guys in that reaction, because I think deep down, you just, want to call BS on BS, man. And when someone's saying like they witnessed humans being murdered, they killed aliens, right? They're part of some secret program. I mean, what are we talking about? And again, you're telling us these stories with the intention of getting legislation passed so we can help protect what? And provide no evidence. I just think it's a little, I don't blame them for getting a little testy. I mean, I get it. But again, not exactly how I would have approached that myself, but I can totally understand their reaction, right? I also do not believe Jason. I don't think the onus is on me to prove he's telling the truth, right? Like, or prove he's lying, prove a negative. No, the onus is on you to prove you're telling the truth. When did that change? Right? That's what it becomes. Well, prove he's lying. Wait a second. Why is the proof on me or you? What kind of nonsense is that? Someone comes out with a story and now all the work's on you. You know what I mean? What are we doing? Right? How can that guy come out with a story? Now you've got to prove it's right. No. A person who comes out with a story provides the evidence and or proof, not the other way around. And it's okay to be at default and say, well, I don't believe you until you show something to make me believe you, or just undecided. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe. But where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Again, it's not just your neighbor telling you an experience story, or someone on an airplane sitting next to you, or even a family member or something. You know what I mean? This is moved into another level. This is something else entirely different. It's not every day people come out and say they're part of some secret, because now you're implicating the U.S. American government, right? As going on these illegal missions to murder other beings that he doesn't even know if they're again. Prove that they're alien. Prove that they're non-human. Prove that you just didn't murder humans, Jason, or kill them. Maybe not murder. If the truth is, if you are a military person and you're on a mission and you kill, that doesn't make you a murderer to me, right? Clearly, you're on a mission. That's a confirmed kill, right? That's something you were ordered to do. I get that. Okay. And that is what Jason's saying as well. He was ordered to do it. Otherwise, his family, was going to be in danger. They threatened his family. So he had to, now you're implicating the American government as using leverage of families to make soldiers do things that they will kill the family. What are we implicating here? Right. I get that the government doesn't have the cleanest record, but those are pretty serious accusations with no evidence, right? And not just the government, people within the government who are morally, devoid, right, and are acting in this way. And how many other aliens have been killed? And when did this start? And is that good for us? Are they going to come back and, want revenge? They're just going to let that go? How does he know they were a threat, right? Like, it's kind of crazy, right? So I'm just saying, there's just so many things there, right? There's so many questions, so many things, so many threads to pull. The one interesting thing about Jason is like any question you ask him, there's always a reason why he doesn't have the thing, the evidence, or there's always like this perfectly boxed, reason. It's like he has an answer for everything. And that's concerning. But look, anyway, I look forward to a conversation with them. Of course, I'll be respectful, but I definitely have a lot of questions. And again, I think he is obligated to answer those questions. I'm not saying necessarily from me, but from the American public, right? I mean, that's just the truth. So, but look, I appreciate everyone that spoke in that panel. I definitely respect all the veterans who have served, and I understand why they want to push back and ask those questions. So, and thank you to everyone who held that space. But I do believe we need to stay respectful, you know, no matter how hard it is. But at the same time, I get it. You know, I get it. Entiendo el pasión, si me entiendes. So anyway, all right, guys, I got to get going. I got a Twitter space. So if you want to join me, you can jump on Twitter, go to the Vetted, at Vetted Podcast on Twitter. You'll find us there. Pretty easy to search. And I'm doing my first Twitter space. So we'll see how that goes, y'all. I'll let y'all know. Anyway, we'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. I have an absolute banger for y'all tomorrow. Okay. I've been working on it for a few days with the help of some people in our Discord too, some other vetters. But I will say it involves Tim Taylor and a mysterious figure named the Hammer. That's right. All right, y'all. I'll leave y'all there. Thank you again. Thank you, vetters in the live chat. Thank you to the mods. Really appreciate all y'all's hard work. Thank you guys so much. All right, y'all. Remember, every day's a gift. Peace.